Hey everyone, my name is Terry and welcome to my channel, The Pink Dumbbell Problem. Today's a new episode in the Friday Fact Day series where I get to talk about my work in fitness, feminism, and philosophy. Today's facts are all about Fitness Video Red Flags Part 2. Not going to make the electric boogaloo joke. It's been done too much. I guess I kind of just did. A few weeks ago, I did a whole video on red flags to look for in fitness videos. Very popular thing this time of year. People are doing live streams, they're buying downloads. Some people are digging out their old DVD collection, VHS for those of us of a certain vintage who still own a VCR. So it's a good time for me to talk about what you should look for and what are signs of a video you should avoid. Last time I talked about a lot of the really technical stuff. This time I want to talk about a few more things that are less technical, but to me are big red flags about how the fitness instructor trains and how they speak to us and that sort of thing. So let's get into that right now. By the way, these are not in any particular order, and this is not an exhaustive list, nor was the list in my last video on this topic. If I were to try to cover every single red flag that's possibly out there, we'd be here for months. So this is really just sort of the greatest hits. The first big red flag for me is when the instructor promises you certain things that they assume you want because of your gender or other demographics that the video is marketed to. Quite often, workout videos are marketed to women. We've always been the primary audience for that. Back in the 80s when this really started, you'd hear things like, now come on now ladies, we need to, trim our waists and make our booty rounder. Well, I've already talked about spot reduction. You can't make your waist smaller or make your abs flatter by doing any particular exercise. Body fat's going to go on the body where it wants to and come off where it wants to. You cannot control where that's going to take place. So yes, you can change the shape of your glutes somewhat with a lot of glute exercises, strength training exercises. You can change the shape of the muscle, but you're not going to change the fat deposits in that area. So you're not going to get the roundness of a Kardashian if that's what you're looking for. Like all things spot reduction related, or spot increasing in this case related, I know that's not the answer people wanted to hear, but it's just not scientifically possible. Be careful too when you're looking at people like influencers and stuff, especially on Instagram where everything is picture-based. There could be a lot of filters and a lot of photoshopping and things like that on those photos. They didn't always get that by the squats and the booty bands that they claim they got it from. Another one that I really dislike is when people use shame tactics, especially around things like weight loss, fat loss, and calories. It was quite common in the early days of the fitness industry for instructors to be trained to say things like, okay, you ate pizza this weekend, we need to do some extra cardio to burn that off, or whatever the food was, cheesecake or whatever. Cheesecake was a popular thing in the 80s. I think that might have been due to the Golden Girls. R.I.P. Betty, we all miss you. That kind of language concerns me, and that really made a comeback in the early to mid 2000s when weight loss based reality TV shows kind of became super popular. A lot of yelling at people for their eating habits, their lifestyle habits, any of those kinds of things became really popular again. So first of all, shame tactics don't work. I actually explicitly teach this to my student fitness instructors when they're in training, is we never use shame tactics because it might work short term for a few days or even a few weeks, but that's a downward spiral just waiting to happen. So my students are told very explicitly not to do that. I hope other fitness certification programs do that as well. So shame tactics don't work, but I also consider them extremely unprofessional and unethical, in addition to the fact that scientifically, pedagogically, they have no value. Sort of related to that, and this might be more of a style preference than a red flag. For me, it's a red flag. For me, this is something I immediately stop watching. But I don't like it when instructors use that sort of drill sergeant style. They do to motivate, but to me, it's so lacking in instructional content that it assumes you have to already know how to do every exercise perfectly. And I really get nervous around that. Some people can learn an exercise by watching somebody else do it, but a lot of us, myself included, can't. I have to understand the movement mechanics of an exercise if I'm going to do it correctly myself. And even for exercises I know well, and I know a lot of them well after all these years, I still don't like that yelling in my face aggressive style. It's just, to me, it's an absolute total turnoff. Might not be that for everybody, and clearly it sells, so some people out there must like it. But for me, it's an instant stop for me if I see that in a video. Another one that concerns me, definitely raises my eyebrows, is when the marketing copy or the instructor in the introduction says, anybody can do this workout. There's always somebody out there who has a medical condition, or maybe they have an injury, or maybe they differ in learning style and the way the instructor is presenting the content isn't the way they learn best. I think there's pretty few workouts out there in the world that literally everybody can do. I've also seen quite a lot of videos that claim everybody can do this workout, and I've looked at it and thought, no, there's a very small number of people who can do that particular workout. It seems to be largely a marketing thing to say that everybody can do this video because, of course, the marketing people, their job is to make sure more people buy the video. I've also noticed that really is often said by people who are not certified fitness instructors. They might have other training, they might have no training at all. As I've said many times on this channel, there is no regulation in who can call themselves a fitness instructor. Again, it's buyer beware. Everybody can do this workout tends to be a phrase that's said by people with no actual training in how other people learn and how they should present themselves so other people can learn. And they think the workout's easy because they can do it. And they don't realize that a lot of people can't do what they're doing. The next one is one that really irritates me. And I have to say, kind of terrifies me. And that is when the instructor in a video slags off another fitness format or another workout style. And nowadays, cross-training for everything is pretty popular, so you don't hear this as much. But for a while there in the mid-2000s, up into even the 20-teens a little bit, there was a lot of talk in videos and on websites and on fitness blogs about my workout is better than that kind of workout, or don't waste your time on that workout, do this one because it's the one to guarantee you results. And I know that was about competitiveness in the market and trying to make the sale, but it still really, really concerns me. To me, that suggests that the instructor probably doesn't know how different types of workouts work and is really more focused on getting the sale than providing you with something that is safe and effective and hopefully fun. There's also sometimes some gender bias in those things. Quite often, the thing that is sneered at are the more feminine types of workouts. So that can be things like ballet bar classes, which are super intense and amazing, but people will sneer at them as being too girly. Other things like yoga, even Pilates, which was invented by a man, and yet it's considered super girly, and people go, oh, that's not a real workout. And of course, we've come a long way. We don't see things like ableist language and ageist language as much as we used to. But that used to be much more prominent. Things like, do this exercise so you don't look like an old granny, right? Like, excuse me? In other words, anything that is sexist or racist or homophobic or ableist or even ageist should be a red flag. Back when I was doing the lit review for my master's thesis, one of the articles I read was from a phys ed professor here in Canada, and she went to a fitness instructors conference back, and I think it was the late 80s. And she was just absolutely shocked because the session that was being taught about fitness programs for seniors, the instructor said something about, she tells her class, hey ladies, let's, make our waist smaller so we can attract all the men at the old age home. And it was just like, oh my God, like even back then that was pretty bad. Like you got like sexism and ageism and heteronormativity in there, assuming that every woman is trying to catch a man. I mean, it's just several layers of yuck. Another one, and this maybe could have gone in the more technical video, but I'll put it here, is when the instructor doesn't say thank you to anybody else that's on screen with them. They don't introduce the people on either side or behind them that are showing modifications or just performing along with them. If there's musicians or other people on screen, they never acknowledge or thank those people. Also, if the video doesn't show you any credits for the music that's used, because legally, any music that's used commercially does have to be credited. And YouTube gives us a certain amount of music for free license here. But if they're using commercial music at all, there has to be crediting for it. And if there's not, that's a big red flag that they're probably not doing officially proper business practices. And then finally, no surprise to regular watchers of this channel, the one that really, really grinds my gears is when they are down on the idea of women doing any kind of strength training, building muscle, getting stronger. All they talk about is getting thin and getting tiny. There's one instructor, I won't name and shame in case she ever comes to her senses, but she uses the phrase teeny tiny all the time. Oh, do this exercise and you'll have teeny tiny arms. Do this exercise and you'll have teeny tiny legs. You'll have teeny tiny waist. And I'm like, if I hear her say teeny tiny one more time, I'm going to lose my cool. I won't say who she is, but if you know, you know. And she's not a certified fitness instructor either. So there you go. Anybody who says things like, you know, women should be tiny and men should be big, and they say women shouldn't strength train. Obviously, scientifically, not true. But also, that plays into a lot of social fear mongering about what is the right way to look and behave in a feminine way. What's the right way to feminine code your behavior? Now, you know, I'm all about lifting heavy. So obviously I am not too impressed with anybody who says things like women shouldn't get big, bulky muscles. Yes, you should. Go ahead and get whatever kind of muscle you want. And that goes for men, that goes for non-binary people, gender fluid people. You get what you want. There's no rules that say you can't have this because you're a woman, or you have to have this. No, forget that. Forget that. Have the muscle you want to have. You're going to have to work for it. We all do. But no, this whole idea that women have to be teeny tiny, no. Stop that. This has already been a two-parter. I did the more technical stuff last week, and this has been the more pedagogical and sociological stuff that are red flags. I am actually turning this into a three-parter. This was going to be one video when I started the concept, and then it turned into two, and while I was writing for this week, it turned into three. So in a few weeks, I'll see you again for the third, and I think final part of this, that will be things that people think are red flags, but aren't. In the meantime, leave your comments down below. What are things that you've seen in some fitness videos that you thought, ooh, not too sure about that? Please click like on the video, subscribe. And if you like my shirt here with one of my favorite sayings on it, fitness, feminism, and philosophy, you can go to the link down below in the box and see my Threadless store, where you can buy this design and a couple of others that you can put on tank tops and t-shirts and all kinds of fun stuff. Threadless is a really nice company, and the shirts are really nice and soft, and they wash really well. Treat yourself to one of those if you're looking for something new to work out in. You can also get the slogan that I use when I close out all my videos. So I guess it's time to say it. Lift heavy, fight the patriarchy, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.